Hi everyone! Hi guys, thank you for joining. Okay. Hi guys, can you see me? It's Jaclyn. I'm just gonna check and make sure. Put a thumbs up if you guys can see me. Yay! Can you guys hear me? Can you give a thumbs up if you guys hear me? Yay, okay, I see a thumbs up. Okay, woo! We did it. Hi guys, I'm Jaclyn Johnson. I am the CEO and founder of Create Cultivate. I am so excited to be here with you guys for Priceless Conversations, real talk, real action in partnership with Mastercard. This is going to be an ongoing series for us throughout the month of May that I'm really excited to be hosting. So just to give you more information, now more than ever, small business owners have questions about surviving and thriving in these challenging times, needing tools and figuring out, where we go from here. And so every Monday in May, Mastercard will introduce an expert of the week who you'll be able to engage with. I am your expert this week, very exciting. And so I went on to Hello Alice in their Business for All online forum and didn't ask me anything and kind of threw out there questions I needed to be asked. And there were some incredible questions that came in, and I'm going to dive more into those questions today. But also send in your questions. The team is monitoring all the questions online, so we'll be able to answer those. So drop your questions in, use the Q&A box, or just drop them in the chat. And basically, this week I'm the expert and the host, so I'm doing all the things. But we spent a week gathering those questions, and then we go live on Wednesdays on Create and Cultivate. And for this week, I'm going to answer your questions, but for next week, we'll bring on more experts. And so I'm really excited to announce that next week's expert is going to be Sonia Rasula. So she is the founder and CEO of Unique Markets. She's an incredible business owner. And so her Ask Me Anything is up and live on Hello Alice this week. So go in, ask your questions there, and then tune in next Wednesday, and I will be hosting a conversation with her. So very exciting things. We are so excited to be partnering with Mastercard on these important initiatives, and I'm just gonna get some of the questions up and ready to just dive in. So first and foremost, I'm a small business owner whose business has been affected by COVID-19. We are mostly well known for our events, as many of you know, and obviously with everything that's going on, that is on hold. And we, just like many of you, are pivoting and putting things together. So first and foremost, I'm so excited to team up with Mastercard to bring you guys real talk, real action. But that's something that Create and Cultivate has always really wanted to do, is bringing you real talk advice. Because right now, we don't need fluff. We don't need to be, inspired. We need the information that is going to help us get through this tough time. So I'll shut up, but I'm going to keep talking for the next 30 minutes. So get excited. So basically, we got a ton of questions. I'm going to roll through those questions. But if you have questions, please chime in. Tell us where you're tuning in from, what your business is, and I'll get to those questions as well. But just to kind of kick it off, here are some of the questions from Hello Alice. So here we go. With so many people online each day, we know we should spend money to reach new markets. Where is the best place to funnel your marketing budget during this time? So if you do have some extra dollars lying around and you want to position that into driving business to your now online e-commerce or whatever it might be, we've had a lot of luck using Instagram and Facebook ads. So they seem intimidating, which they can be, but they also are very effective once you use them really well. And there is so much great information online on how to target ads to your audience. The last thing you want to do is put your money into a blanketed ad for people 18 to 75 living all across the United States. You want to get really granular on who you are targeting with those ads. So if you're targeting millennial women, 21 to 35, that are specifically in Los Angeles, you can do that. Are they interested in fashion? Check. Are they a mom? Check. Whatever it is that you want to target, you can do that. So that's kind of a great way to kind of put some dollars against that. And you don't have to do a big spend. There's no minimums. you can kind of be creative with that. Some no-cost ways to grow, your email database and your social following is partnering with like-minded brands. So there's so many great brands out there that may be similar to yours or have a similar audience to yours. I'm sure everyone is in need of some boosts right now. So kind of reaching out and saying, hey, let's do a giveaway together. Let's do an email sweepstakes together, and kind of bring people together to grow our email list and grow awareness for each of our brands. Okay, next question. What are some of the best little to no costs that you can use to cultivate your online presence and following through LinkedIn or Instagram? So I talked a little bit about Instagram already. LinkedIn is an amazing platform for social interaction, especially in the B2B space. So if you're looking for help, like I need help editing photos, I would love to get a video made, or whatever it is to kind of up your marketing game, that's a great place and resource to go for that information and see what's going on in your business and business industry. So with LinkedIn, what I find works really well is kind of updating your, I think it's your headline with what you're looking for. So if it's, Jaclyn Johnson looking for work, Jaclyn Johnson currently hiring. Like when you put that in your headline, it really shows what you're looking for and what your need might be. So I know a lot of us might be looking for jobs, so I think that's a great way to kind of refresh and update your LinkedIn profile. Adding press pieces about your business on there is always really great. They have a whole awards section, so beefing that up, especially if you're going back into the job market, I think is really important. Okay. We will not hit our sales goals this year. What are your thoughts on using the economic injury disaster loan to ensure cash flow for 12 months? What cash flow tools do you recommend? So I think a lot of us, cash flow is a major issue that we're all trying to figure out. And I know there's a lot of information out there, from small business loans to the Paycheck Protection Loan to the economic injury disaster loan. When it comes to loans, it's a very personal thing and how you sort of view your finances. For me personally, I am very conservative when it comes to money, and I don't love taking out large loans or owing money in that way. However, some of the loans that the government is putting out are forgivable loans, which means you would not have to pay back portions of those loans if the money is used for specific things. For instance, with the Paycheck Protection Plan, if you use that towards payroll, specifically rent, utilities, etc., that part of the loan is forgivable. So in those situations, I would say absolutely apply for all of those loans that are specific to you and your businesses, and making sure that you're taking advantage where you can, because those can be honestly a lifesaver. When it comes to cash flow, I would get on top of your accounts receivable. Who owes you money right now? What are the late fees on those monies owed? Is there a way to implement those? And how do you get that money in right now? I know as soon as this all sort of happened, all my small business owner friends kind of came together and said, we're just like pounding the pavement on getting money through the door that's owed. So I think that's your first kind of, good bet. And then also just reducing your overall costs. So, with rent, asking for, postponed payments or rent reduction, getting rid of some of the subscriptions that you use, all little things that add up to maintain and keep that cash flow abundant as much as you can to keep your business afloat. And just thinking through different plans. So if a loan is the right move for you, just thinking through and putting into place how you will repay that loan immediately so that you don't dig yourself further into debt. How's it going? Can you guys all hear me? Put a thumbs up. I won't be able to see it, but hopefully you guys are doing well and asking questions. So let's see. Oh, this was an interesting one. She said, I have launched a women-centric business academy in Mexico and received negative feedback that a female-based academy is technically discrimination. How do you manage to grow the CNC community of women without facing similar backlash? So this is really interesting, and I know there's been a lot of press and things like that around female-only businesses being sued by, male power groups or whatever it is. Here's the thing. Create Cultivate is a community built for women, but it's not exclusive to women. So we want to be, a resource to everyone. Our content tends to skew towards women primarily, but at the end of the day, we cater to women, but we're open to everyone. So I think that's the biggest way to kind of think about it. And I know there are laws that apply when it comes to discriminating against giving people access to certain things, so definitely check that out. But for us, I think, women are our target. They are the bulk of our audience, but, we really are here for everyone if they're looking for advice. Let's see. I am a full-time jewelry artist who depends on the support of personal and wholesale clients. Where can I find grant money for artists? Well, I have a great answer for this one. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, we are launching a digital summer camp on June 6th. We're so excited. It's going to be amazing. It's a full day of programming, panels, workshops, just like a fun day where you'll learn amazing things about content creation, building businesses, etc., but also do fun things like floral arranging and marbling classes, and just kind of give yourself a little self-care, a little fun, a little love. And as part of that, we are giving away a $10,000 small business grant for creatives specifically, so people in creative spaces, so a jewelry designer definitely falls into that category. And you just apply on our site and you'll be selected and you'll pitch in front of a panel of judges to win $10,000. If you caught our Money Move Summit in partnership with Mastercard, you saw that we had Ms. Rizos win that $10,000 small business grant. She's a business out of Brooklyn, New York, so we're so excited to be doing that. How do you find investors and what's the best way to go about contacting them? So this is a great question and one that really comes up quite often, honestly, on Create and Cultivate. When it comes to investors, one of the tools I actually really like is called AngelList and Crunchbase. Both of those really show different companies, who their investors are, how much money was invested, what the rounds were. And so if you're a company that has a company that you aspire to or like or similar to yours, see who invested in them. Kind of go down that list and get your pitch ready and be able to kind of focus in on who you want to go after. And then also figuring out who, there's a lot of investment VC firms that focus just specifically on female-owned female-owned businesses or women of color businesses. So find ones that are specific as much as possible to what you're doing and reach out and see if you can get into pitch. And also just asking around, I think, is really important when it comes to investors. So that's more traditional VC investors, but there's also angel investors as well. So, and high net worth individual investors. So just doing your research, reaching out, seeing if it's a spot or a category or industry that they like and or are interested in, and reaching out. Okay, so please pull your questions together, ask them, and I will get to them as best I can. But going into some of the questions submitted to CNC, what are 3 simple and fast ways to curb spending and save money as a business while dealing with the global crisis and quarantine period? So I would say the 3 simple ways to do this are: 1, look at your subscriptions. What are you currently excuse me, paying for right now that you don't need? So for instance, I think for us, like, we have accounts with Spotify where we pay for the premium account because of our events and we want to have the music flowing. We don't need that right now, so can we cut back on that? I know I personally paused my Rent the Runway subscription. Anything that you're not using daily, pause it, cancel it. You can always go back to it. Also, negotiate. When it comes to your rent, personally and for your business, see if you can get a deal or a discount. I think people are very amenable to that, and see if they can reduce that overall cost. If you have contracts and long-term retainers with people, see if you can pause it for a month or 2, or extend it on the back end, pause it and extend it longer on the back end. I think at the end of the day, everyone's a human being right now and understands what's going on. And while some people may not be as helpful as you want them to be, I think just asking is super important. Let's see. What advice do you have for women that were in the middle of raising money for their business? When will investors start opening up and receiving pitches again? So I actually know quite a few people who are in the middle of starting to fundraise or thinking about fundraising for their business. So I think we're a little bit past the point where everyone was like, no one's doing anything. I think we're starting to see the economy, revive a little bit, and people starting to spend a little bit more money and be a little less cautious, seeing where their business has been. So investors are always going to invest. That's the good news, right? Like, they might be taking less risk with their investments. The cash might be lower than what it's been in the past, but investors are going to invest. That's what they do. They always are looking for promising new companies and innovations coming out of this as well. So I'm sure you've heard stories from the 2009 recession, 2008 recession, all these innovations came out of it. Drybar came out of it. I believe DoorDash came out of it. Uber, some of the companies that we now use all the time, and those were created during a time of low money and low economic activity. And so I think it's just thinking positively about that and understanding that we have come out of every single major financial crisis over the past X amount of years. So we will come out of this too. It's just a matter of when, not if. And I think understanding and sort of pivoting your pitch for future investors on why your product will thrive in a post-COVID-19 world is going to be really important. And also thinking through, maybe you don't need to raise $50 million. How much can you get by on? How much do you really need? And making those dollars stretch. Let's see. What are some recommendations you have for small businesses that are trying to support their employees financially but can't hold out any longer? Is furloughing a good idea? There are really no good options with this situation. However, I do think, if you are in the position where if things get back to normal and business picks up to normal, that you will have those jobs available for people, then furloughing, can be a good option. I think just getting as many people as you can on unemployment, if you're unable to, pay them yourself, is really important as well, just so they can take advantage of that and then go out and potentially find new jobs versus holding that job for them specifically. I think for anyone who is hiring but is nervous on taking on a salary, looking at contract to hire or contract-based talent is really great right now. There's so many amazing, talented people who now are currently out of work who would be great for contract opportunities as well. Okay. You are a big supporter of financial literacy, especially for women. Yes. What advice can you share for women on cultivating confidence around money and deal making? How do they bridge that confidence gap and feel empowered about their finances? So, look, women need to get comfortable talking about money, and women need to get comfortable with other women making money and be supportive of that. I think that's first and foremost. I think at the end of the day, when Sally Krawcheck says, when women make money, nothing bad happens. And that's true, nothing bad happens, except we get to offer and pay more money to other women. So, and I truly believe, and I've said this in my book as well, that money is power. It's just the way our system works right now. With women making more money, that gives them more power, and it gives them more power to raise up and mentor and bring up the next generation of women to then make more money as well. And so I think when it comes to money, being really smart about your personal savings and what you're investing in is really important. My mom is an accountant, and she's, since day one has told my sister and I, be financially independent. Don't ever be reliant on a man or a partner or someone else for your financial independence, because money will eventually and always give you freedom from situations you might not want to be a part of or situations where you feel beholden to. And so I just think it's really important, not only to have money for power, but also for financial freedom. I think also when it comes to negotiations and money, understanding your worth and what the market rate is really important. And so if you have a business and you're like, I have no idea how much to charge, try to find out what your competitors charge. Try to find out what else is out there and how much they're charging. And if you have a specific competitive advantage over them, charge more. And as you get better, charge more. And as you get busier, charge more. And don't be afraid to ask for that. I think, the worst thing is someone can say no. But I think at the end of the day, just understanding that everyone expects a negotiation, at least in my experience. So the first number you go in with will never be the last. And if they agree to it right away, you probably charge too little. But I think one of the things that was said at a Create Cultivate, I believe it was in Seattle, and I'm going to forget who said it, but they said you should always go in asking for a number that you feel slightly uncomfortable with. And I think that's a good piece of advice. And again, you might not get it, and that's okay too. And I think that's an important lesson to learn also, is like, you can't just go in and ask for a raise and have no proof in the pudding to back it up. You have to come in and show your worth and then ask for it. And I think that's really important. And I think being confident around money and understanding is, just reading up on, you know, the industries you're in, what the financial markets say, and becoming, you know, more advanced in the way you talk about money and you invest in things and you make investments. It can be super intimidating. It's intimidating for me. I remember when I bought my first house, I had no idea what I was doing, and there were so many words and contracts and all these things, and I was like, oh my God, what does all this mean? But then you learn by doing, and I think just setting yourself up for financial success and freedom is really important. IG comment question, what are the pros and cons of bootstrapping? Great question. So I've bootstrapped both my businesses. I have not raised any outside investment, and I don't really know any other way of doing it, so I don't really know, you know, the pros and cons of being a venture-backed company. That being said, here's the pros and cons of being a bootstrap company. One is I get to make all the decisions. So I am the be-all and say-all of the company. I don't have to answer to investors or, you know, have them approve all my plans in advance or, you know, give advice on certain things. And I have great partners that I do work with, but I think at the end of the day, it's like I am, you know, in control of my company, which I think is a really powerful and important thing, and I get to make those decisions. Also, I think you're able to pivot really quickly, be super scrappy about things, and it makes you a stronger business person, I think, in the long term, to be able to understand and manage cash flow and growth without having this sort of, you know, piggy bank to kind of lean on. I think it's, you kind of like put that anxiety and stress on yourself to do a great job and keep the money coming, but I think you learn to be really smart about the way you spend money. So I think that's really important. I think the cons are you don't have that piggy bank to rely on, and you don't have that sort of ability to be as high growth, I think, as you might want to be. You know, you don't have $1 million marketing budgets and things like that. So I think at the end of the day, it depends on your business and what you want to be doing and what your long-term goal is for business. Okay, here's another one from IG comments. I'm still in the works of the business I'd like to create. I have close friends who have a very similar business. This is a concern of mine because I don't want to make them mad. Do you have any advice? Whew, yeah, I mean, I think it's tough. I think it really depends. So it's like, I'm friendly with people who have competitive businesses to create and cultivate. I'm friendly with people. In my previous company, I was very friendly with people who had super similar businesses to what I was doing, which was a marketing and events agency. I think having the tough conversation early on is really important. Saying like, look, I'm starting this thing, like, here's what I'm doing. You know, I know it's very similar to yours. Obviously keeping lanes clear of like not going after the same clients or, you know, things like that, or going after their clients or whatever it might be. But I think it's just important to have that conversation up front and then also see like, what can we potentially do together? Is there more that we can do together than apart? Because I think sometimes there's power in that longer term. But I think at the end of the day, you know, just being transparent about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons and not because, you know, you see XYZ making money and so you're like, I'm just gonna do that too. It's like, you know, being original in your ideas, I think, is really important also. Feel free to add more questions. We have about 7 more minutes, so I'm down to answer. Okay, let's see. What is your #1 money tip for small business owners? Cash is queen. I think, you know, there's a lot of, we've all kind of grown up around like the startup hype and the Silicon Valley shows and things like that with the insane offices and the insane spending and all the different things. And, you know, I've always come from a place of spending really wisely, being really strategic about the money that we do spend, being able to make sure that I can pay everyone and that there's no issues with anything like that. And I think it's served me really well. So I think being cautious with your cash, playing the long game, I think is so important. I think there's a lot of younger Gen Z, early millennials that, you know, kind of are burning bridges, coming in hot, you know, doing all these different things. And I think at the end of the day, you have to play the long game and you have to be willing to put in the work. Even as a small business owner, it's the same thing. Is like, you know, for so long, and still, I mean, you know, I do everything at Create and Cultivate. You know, I'm picking up the trash on site at the conferences, I'm helping with the talent, I'm doing all the fun and cool stuff that you guys see, but I'm also doing all the nitty gritty too, and you have to be down to do that. for your business, and you have to love it. But when it comes to the money tip, I think just being cautious with your cash, and really loving what you do. Okay, another IG question. What's your opinion on the landscape right now of starting things and reaching out to people you want to be involved to pitch them? Is it too soon because of COVID? So 3 weeks ago, yes, I went completely radio silent, pretty much all of March, and the beginning of April. Just kind of didn't want to, it just felt weird to reach out to anyone. That being said, I think, things have started to change a little bit. I think people are a little bit more open and optimistic about where the future's going. I think being sensitive to what's happening in your emails and outreach is really important, and just saying not sure how things are going over there, I hope they're going well, here's what I have in the pipeline, not sure if there's anything that's of interest to you guys. I think that's totally fine. I think people understand, and people want to get back to business. I think that's the most important thing that I've really recognized, and from talking to my friends and founder friends and things like that. I think that it's really important to cultivate those relationships longer term and really come together in moments like this. But I do think everyone wants to get back to business, back to work, on every level, on the highest level and on the smallest of startup levels. And I think it's good for our economy to get back to work as best we can. How did your partnership with Mastercard come to be? How do you go about securing partners? Love this, y'all, and this series. Thank you. So Mastercard. So Mastercard's been a partner now for almost 2 years. And the partnership with Mastercard started really organically. I had been to some of their events. I work closely with the team that they work with as well. They obviously have been advocates of small business owners forever. It's a huge piece of their platform and has been for a long time, specifically women-owned small businesses. It was years in the making. They're a massive company, and so being, able to kind of talk to them about what we were doing, proving that we were a good partner, and really it's been an incredible partnership. Everything that they do for small business owners is truly genuine, and I said this for our Money Move Summit, but when this all hit in March or whatever, they came to the table and said, how can we help Create and Cultivate? How can we support you in the community that you have? Which for a small business owner is a godsend, to have partners that are truly step up to the plate and are, practice what they preach. So what they're doing with this series and what they're doing with Hello Alice and on their channels altogether, it's just a natural extension of their brand is to be there for small business owners, and especially during this time right now, they've really stepped up, which has been awesome. But when it comes to securing partners, I think lots of LinkedIn stalking, lots of follow-up, lots of persistence, and really just showing your value to your partners. Here's another one. Being a small business owner, what is your number one tip when it comes to marketing? I would say momentum. I think it's something we do really well at Create and Cultivate is we always have stuff to talk about. We have our Money Move Summit, we launched summer camp right away. After summer camp, we'll make another big announcement. We're constantly moving and making stuff happen. And I think in this sort of attention economy where there's so much going on, being able to show that you're doing and moving and showing up and having things to talk about is really important. I think a lot of companies tend to go quiet for periods of time and then ramp up with larger campaigns, which is a strategy that could work for some businesses. But specifically for us, I think showing momentum and showing that power, you can't manifest momentum. You have to make it happen for you and your business. Okay, any other questions? Drop them in now. 3, 2. I see someone typing. I don't know if it's a question. Oh, another one. Okay, how do you launch a business? I mean, there's so many different ways to launch a business, but I would say first and foremost, just start by starting. Just do it. Create a website, get a logo, get a trademark if you want to take it really seriously, and just launch it. I think that's truly how Create and Cultivate started. It's I didn't have a business plan, I didn't have anything figured out. I just said, let's see if this is a thing. So I think start by starting is a great tip, and just jumping head first into this is really important. I see another type. I don't want to stop if there's more questions. How would you suggest to build growth on your platform? So with Create and Cultivate, everything that we've done has been super organic. But I would say specifically with Instagram, The number one way I've seen to grow an Instagram following is really tedious and very manual, and it's literally just engaging and commenting on other people's pages, sliding into the DMs, saying what's up. Like, it's just engagement. It's good old-fashioned engagement, and I think that's something that's really important. And if you're sitting at home right now and you have a brand, just sit and start commenting and engaging, and I think you'll start seeing organic numbers really jump up. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Before we conclude today's session, I want to thank you all for tuning into Mastercard's live Priceless Conversations, real talk, real action, and joining us along for this journey, which will obviously be continuing on. So next week, join me with Sonia Rasula, the founder and CEO of Unique Markets, to discuss community engagement and using digital strategies to build loyalty. Sonia's incredible. She has so much good advice. I'm so excited to be talking to her. She's awesome. And if you'd like to ask a question that could be featured on the live, go to the Hello Alice Business for All community and visit the Hello Alice website. Join in on that community board. Just ask a question. Sonia will answer it, but then we'll dive even deeper into it next week on the live AMA with Sonia Rasula. I look forward to it. I really love doing this. I love being here for our community as best I can be. And a huge shout out to Mastercard for being an incredible partner and teaming up with us on this series. Hope you guys have fun.